Today is October 16th at dawn, and this dawn is unlike any other. This dawn marks the beginning of something that Padre Pio established with absolute precision. 7 days. 7 days until October 23rd. And if you're hearing this right now, at this very moment, you need to understand what you're about to miss if you let this day pass without taking action. Padre Pio didn't teach by chance. Each instruction he gave had a profound spiritual purpose. And regarding novenas, these sacred 9-day cycles of prayer, he was absolutely clear. Don't start when it's convenient. Don't start when you remember. Start exactly 7 days before the date you want to reach. Exactly. And if October 23rd is the date you seek, then today, October 16th at dawn, is the moment you have. But why at dawn? Why did Padre Pio insist so strongly on dawn as the most powerful time to begin a novena? The answer lies in what he saw, in what he knew. Padre Pio didn't speak from theory. He spoke from direct experience with the spiritual world, and he saw what happens at dawn. He saw the spiritual forces that move in those first hours of the day. He saw the battle that takes place between good and evil, exactly at that moment of transition. And he knew that whoever starts a novena at dawn isn't just praying, they're entering the battle. At the moment, it's most intense and most decisive. Do you think it's a coincidence that Jesus rose at dawn? That Mary Magdalene found the tomb empty at dawn? That angels appeared to the shepherds at dawn? No. Dawn is the moment of victory. It's the moment when light overcomes darkness. And when you start a novena at dawn, you are spiritually declaring that your intention is aligned with that victory. You're saying, I don't wait. I don't procrastinate. I begin when the light begins. But here's the problem. Most people don't understand the spiritual calculus of a novena. They think 9 days of prayer. I can start today, I can start tomorrow. It doesn't matter. It does matter. Padre Pio established 7 days before. That means for an intention you want to see answered on October 23rd, you need to start today, October 16th. Not tomorrow, not the day after tomorrow, today. And if you miss today, you miss the entire cycle. You miss the spiritual synchronization that Padre Pio said was essential. Why 7 days before, if the novena is 9 days long? Because the novena doesn't end on the 9th day. The novena ends with the answer. And the answer comes on the day you chose as your target. If you want the answer on October 23rd, you count backwards. October 23rd minus 9 days takes you to October 14th. But Padre Pio said, start 2 days before, start on the 16th. Why? Because those 2 days are days of spiritual preparation. They are days of cleansing. They are days when you are not yet formally asking, but are already adjusting your heart, already entering the rhythm, already tuning into the right frequency, the right vibration. And here's what most don't know. Padre Pio taught that these 2 days of preparation are the most important of the entire novena. They are the days when you remove the obstacles. They are the days when you confess. They are the days when you forgive. They are the days when you adjust your life to be in a condition to receive what you will ask for. Because it's no use asking if your heart isn't prepared to receive. It's no use praying for 9 days if you haven't spent 2 days clearing the ground. And you know what happens when someone skips those 2 days? When someone starts the novena directly on October 14th without preparation? The novena works half-heartedly. The prayers go up, but the answers come down slowly. Why? Because the channel hasn't been cleared, the path hasn't been prepared. It's like planting without tilling the soil. The seed enters, but has no room to grow. Padre Pio knew this, and that's why he was so demanding. Start 7 days before, start at dawn. Don't fail on the right day, because the right day isn't a suggestion. It's a spiritual condition. It's like knocking on someone's door at the agreed-upon time. If you arrive 2 hours later, maybe the person will still be there. Maybe. But you've missed the moment, missed the prepared meal, missed the conversation that was planned. And in the spiritual world, missing the moment means missing the full grace. Now let's get practical. Today is October 16th. You're hearing this, and you need to decide now whether you're going to start or whether you're going to let it pass, because dawn doesn't return. Dawn happens once a day. And if you let the dawn of October 16th pass without starting the novena, you've already missed the timing. Can you start in the afternoon? You can. Can you start at night? You can, but it's not the same. Padre Pio said that starting the novena outside of dawn is like starting a race 10 yards behind the starting line. You can still run, but you're already at a disadvantage. And here's the part that most ignore. Padre Pio said that dawn has a unique spiritual quality. Because it's the time when fewer people are praying. It seems contradictory, but it makes sense. During the day, millions of people pray. At night, thousands pray. But at dawn, few, very few. And that means that whoever prays at dawn has less spiritual interference, has less noise, has a clearer, direct line. It's like calling someone in the early morning when the phone lines are empty. The connection is perfect. But it's not just about less noise. It's about what happens to you when you wake up early to pray. When you wake up at dawn to start a novena, you're making a sacrifice. You're saying, this is more important than my comfort. This is more important than my sleep. This is more important than my routine. And that initial sacrifice is already a prayer. It's already an offering. It's already a sign that you are serious. Padre Pio saw people starting novenas lying in bed, half asleep, half awake, praying automatically. And he said, that's not a novena, that's a habit. Novena requires presence, requires intention, requires that you are completely awake, completely present, completely focused on what you are asking for and what you are offering in return. And what do you offer in return? That's the question that most forget to ask. Padre Pio taught that every novena has two sides. On one side, you ask. On the other side, you offer. And if you only ask without offering, the novena doesn't close the circuit. It remains incomplete. It becomes unbalanced. It's like wanting to receive a gift without being willing to give anything. It doesn't work that way. So what do you offer? It all depends on what you're asking for. If you're seeking healing, you offer a life change. If you're seeking forgiveness, you offer forgiveness to others. If you're seeking protection, you offer courage to face whatever comes. There's always an exchange. There's always a balance. And Padre Pio was relentless in demanding it. He would ask, you want this grace? Then show me what you are willing to do for it. And here's something few people know. Padre Pio had a very specific practice for novenas that began at first light. He instructed people upon waking up, before doing anything else, before checking their phone, before having coffee, before talking to anyone, to do 3 things. First, give thanks for waking up. Second, declare aloud the intention of the novena. Third, ask for protection for the 9 days ahead. These 3 things take less than 2 minutes, but they establish the spiritual foundation for the entire novena. And you know what he used to say? Anyone who doesn't do these 3 things on the first day will forget to pray on some day of the novena. Always. Because they didn't create the habit. They didn't establish the rhythm. They didn't make the novena a priority from the very beginning. And when you skip a day of the novena, you have to start over, from scratch. Padre Pio would not accept novenas with holes in them. Either you do the 9 days in a row, or you start over. Now, think about this. If you start today, October 16th at dawn, you'll pray on the 16th, 17th, 18th, 19th, 20th, 21st, 22nd, 23rd, and 24th of October. 9 consecutive days. And on the 23rd, which is the target day, you don't just pray, you also start to see the first signs of the answer. It might not be the complete answer, but it will be a sign. It will be a confirmation. It will be something that tells you your novena has been heard. But what if you don't start today? What if you let the dawn of the 16th pass you by? Then you have to recalculate. If you start tomorrow, October 17th, your novena ends on October 25th, 2 days after the target, and then the answer comes late. It doesn't come at the right time. It comes when the moment has already passed, and sometimes in the spiritual realm, delaying the answer means losing it completely. Because circumstances change, doors close, opportunities pass. Padre Pio used to tell a story about a woman who wanted to pray a novena so her son could get a job. The interview was on the 15th. She miscalculated and started the novena too late. It ended on the 17th. Her son went to the interview without the complete coverage of the novena. He didn't get the job. 2 weeks later, another position opened up. She did the novena right this time. She started 7 days before. It ended on the day of the interview. The son got the job. Padre Pio said, the grace was available both times, but it only worked when she did it right. This story tells you something important. It's not that God is rigid or inflexible. It's that there are spiritual laws, there are timings, there are moments, there are windows of opportunity. And when you synchronize with those laws, with those timings, with those windows, you work with the spiritual flow. But when you ignore them, you work against it, and working against it is infinitely more difficult. So today, October 16th, at first light, you have an open window. You have a moment. You have an opportunity to start something that will culminate exactly on October 23rd. And if you have an intention for that day, if you have something that needs to happen on that day, then you have no excuse not to start now. But maybe you're thinking, I don't know how to pray a novena. I don't know what to say. I don't know how to do it. Padre Pio would answer, then you have even more reason to start at dawn. Because dawn is the best time to learn. It's the moment when your mind is fresh. It's the moment when you have the most spiritual energy. It's the moment when you can focus better, and the novena isn't complicated. It doesn't require elaborate words. It doesn't require hours of prayer. It requires consistency. It requires presence. It requires that you, for 9 consecutive days, stop everything, turn off everything, and talk to God about that intention. It can be 5 minutes. It can be 10. It can be half an hour. The time isn't the most important thing. The important thing is that you do it every day at the same time, every day with the same seriousness. And here's something that Padre Pio did and taught. He always started the novena with an apology. Why? Because he knew that no one comes before God without something to set right first. There's always something. There's always a mistake. There's always a failing. There's always something you did or failed to do, and starting the novena by apologizing is like clearing the table before putting down the food. You prepare the space. After the apology comes gratitude. Padre Pio said, never ask without thanking first. Why? Because thanking puts you in the right posture. It takes you out of the position of demand and puts you in the position of humility. It reminds you that everything you have has already been given, and that what you are asking for is just one more grace on top of all the others you have already received. Only after apologizing and thanking do you make the request, and the request needs to be clear. Don't be vague. Don't say, "I want things to get better." Say exactly what you want. Be specific. Be direct. God doesn't need you to be specific to understand, but you need to be specific to know what you really want. Because often we don't know. We ask for generic things because we haven't had the courage to name what we really desire. Padre Pio used to say, if you can't name what you want in one sentence, you still don't know what you want. And if you don't know what you want, how is God going to give it to you? So part of the preparation for the novena in these 2 days before is discovering what you really want. It's sitting with yourself and asking, what am I asking for? Why am I asking for it? What will change in my life if I receive it? And if I don't receive it, what will happen? These questions are tough, but they are necessary, because sometimes we discover that what we thought we wanted isn't what we really need. And Padre Pio said that God always answers novenas, always, but not always in the way we expected, because God sees the complete picture. He sees what comes after. He sees the consequences, and sometimes the answer is no. Sometimes the answer is wait. Sometimes the answer is something better that you hadn't even imagined. But to receive any answer, you need to do the novena right. You need to start on the right day. You need to start at the right time. You need to do the 9 complete days, and you need to finish with confidence. Padre Pio was very clear about this. On the last day of the novena, you don't finish by asking again. You finish by thanking as if you have already received it. Because faith isn't repeating the request over and over. Faith is making the request once, clearly, and then trusting that it has been heard. And here is the true test of faith. How many people can give thanks before they receive? How many people can say thank you for the blessing before they see the blessing? Very few, because it demands a level of trust that goes beyond mere logic. It requires you to believe, even without seeing. It requires you to be certain, even without proof. And Padre Pio used to say that this is the moment when the novena becomes the most powerful, when you stop asking and start thanking. So, let's recap. Today is October 16th. First light. You have 7 days until October 23rd. If you have an intention for that day, you need to begin the novena now. Not later, not tomorrow, now. And you start by doing 3 things. First, give thanks for waking up. Second, declare your intention aloud. Third, ask for protection for the 9 days. After that, you follow the rhythm. Every day, at the same time, you return. You apologize for what you need to correct. You give thanks for what you have already received. You reaffirm your intention. You offer something in return. And you end by trusting that you have been heard. 9 days, without skipping, without failing, without giving up midway. And on the 23rd, you don't anxiously await the answer. You give thanks as if you have already received it. Because spiritually, the moment you finish the novena, the answer has already been released. It might take hours, it might take days to arrive in the physical realm, but in the spiritual realm, it's already on its way. Padre Pio saw this. He saw the blessings that were en route. He saw the answers that had already been dispatched. And he would tell people, don't give up now. Don't lose faith now, because what you asked for has already left. It's just in transit. And the more you doubt, the more you delay the delivery. That's the part most people can't handle, the waiting. Because we want immediate results. We want to do the novena, and the next day have everything resolved. It doesn't work that way. Novena isn't magic. Novena is spiritual alignment. It's you placing your life, your routine, your priorities in sync with God's will. And that takes time. It takes consistency. It takes patience. But when it works, when you see the answer arriving, when you realize that what you asked for is becoming a reality, you understand why Padre Pio insisted so much. You understand why the dawn matters. You understand why the 7 days matter. You understand that they weren't arbitrary rules. They were instructions based on deep spiritual realities that he understood better than anyone. So today, now, while you're still in the first light of October 16th, you have a choice. You can let this day pass like any other. You can say, I'll start tomorrow. You can procrastinate. You can delay. You can have all the excuses in the world. Or you can stop everything now, kneel down, and begin. Begin the novena. That will take you until October 23rd. Begin the cycle that Padre Pio taught. Begin the journey that could change everything. And if you begin, if you really do the full 9 days, following what Padre Pio taught, you'll discover something. You'll discover that the novena changes you as much as it changes your circumstances. Because in the process of praying 9 days straight, you become another person. You become someone more disciplined, more focused, more connected, more confident. And maybe that's the true answer of the novena. Not just what you receive in the end, but who you become along the way. Padre Pio knew this, and that's why he never promised that the novena would give you exactly what you asked for. He promised that the novena would give you exactly what you need. And sometimes, what you need is different from what you want. But you'll only discover that if you begin. If you let today's first light pass, you'll never know. You'll be left with doubt. You'll be left with regret. You'll be left with the what if. And Padre Pio used to say that the what if is the worst form of spiritual suffering, because it's the suffering of the lost opportunity, of the wasted chance, of the moment that doesn't return. So don't miss this moment. Don't let the first light of October 16th pass without acting, because in 7 days, it's October 23rd. And what you do today determines what you'll receive on that day. Padre Pio taught you. Padre Pio showed you. Now it's up to you. Start the novena today. Start now. Start at first light. And trust the process that Padre Pio established, because he didn't fail those who followed him, and he won't fail you. But before you rush off to begin, let me give you something that Padre Pio would give to those who really took the novena seriously. He would give a structure, a practical roadmap, because theory is beautiful, but without practice, you won't go anywhere. So here is the exact roadmap of how to do this 9-day novena, starting today, October 16th, at first light. Day 1 and Day 2, October 16th and 17th. Days of preparation. You aren't making formal requests yet. You're clearing the ground. And how do you clear it? 3 mandatory actions. First, confession. If you have something heavy on your conscience, something you've done and haven't made right, make it right now. Don't carry weight into the novena. Second, forgiveness. If you have anger, resentment, bitterness towards someone, release it. Write the person's name on a piece of paper. Declare aloud that you forgive them and burn the paper. Release it. Third, partial fast. You don't need to go without eating, but choose one thing you enjoy and give it up for these 2 days. Coffee, sweets, social media. Choose one thing and offer it as a preparatory sacrifice. Day 3, October 18th. First official day of request. Here you come before God at first light and make your request clear, aloud, without beating around the bush, without shame. You say exactly what you want to see happen on October 23rd. And after you speak, you stop. You don't keep repeating it. You spoke once, with clarity, with faith. Now you trust that you were heard. And after the request you offer something. What will you do in exchange for this blessing? Think carefully. Write it down. Commit. Because God doesn't accept vague promises. It has to be specific. Day 4, October 19th. Day of anticipated gratitude. Today you don't ask again. Today you give thanks, as if you've already received. You give thanks for the details. You visualize the answer arriving. You feel the emotion of receiving. You act as if the blessing is already on its way, and it is. Padre Pio said that anticipated gratitude accelerates the answer. Why? Because it's the ultimate demonstration of faith. It's you saying, I trust so much that I'm already celebrating. Day 5, October 20th. Day of the test. Here comes the doubt. Here comes the fatigue. Here you start thinking, is this really working? Did God even hear me? Is it worth continuing? And that's exactly why this day exists. To test if you really trust, or if you were just enthusiastic in the first few days. Padre Pio said, whoever gives up on the 5th day never receives anything, because the 5th day is the day of decision. It's the day when you choose between faith and doubt. So on the 20th, when doubt creeps in, and it will, you don't listen. You pray harder. You reaffirm your request. You reaffirm your faith. And you push forward. Day 6, October 21st. Day of consolidation. The doubt has passed. You resisted. Now you are stronger. And today you do something different. Today you pray for someone else's intention, not your own. For someone you know who needs a blessing. Why? Because Padre Pio taught that when you intercede for others in the middle of your own novena, you multiply the power of your prayer. You step outside your ego. You embrace spiritual generosity. And generosity attracts more grace. Day 7, October 22nd, day of vigilance. Tomorrow is the 23rd. Tomorrow is the target day. And today you prepare the ground to receive. How? You spend the entire day in a state of gratitude. You avoid complaining. You avoid negativity. You keep your heart open. You keep your eyes watchful, because sometimes the answer starts to appear the day before. Small signs, little confirmations, subtle movements, and if you aren't paying attention, you'll miss it. Day 8, October 23rd, the target day. Today is the day you chose, and today you don't get anxious. You don't check your phone every 5 minutes, waiting for an answer to fall from the sky. You wake up at dawn like every other day, and you give thanks. You give thanks with the certainty that something is happening. The answer might arrive this morning. It might come in the afternoon. It might appear tonight. The signs may have already started yesterday, and you're only noticing them today. But something is moving, and you trust in that. Day 9, October 24th, the last day of the novena, and here you close the circle. You ask for nothing more. You demand nothing. You simply give thanks for the entire process, for the 9 days, for the discipline, for the faith, for the experience of having done something consistently. And you declare aloud, I trust that I have received what I asked for, or something better. I trust in God's timing. I trust in the plan that is bigger than mine. And I release my novena with gratitude and peace. And after that, you wait, but not with anxious expectation, a confident wait, an active wait. You continue doing your part. Continue acting as if the answer is already guaranteed, because it is. It might take a week to manifest physically, it might take a month, but spiritually, the moment you finished the novena correctly, the answer was released. Now, Padre Pio had something more to say about what to do while you wait. He said, don't go telling everyone about your novena. Don't keep asking for opinions. Don't seek validation. Keep it to yourself. Because the more you expose something that is still in process, the more you dissipate the energy. It's like opening the oven to check the cake every 5 minutes. The cake won't rise. Let the process happen in silence. Let the grace mature without interference. But there's an exception. Padre Pio said that you can and should share your novena with one person. One person you trust, one person of faith, one person who will pray along with you, who will support you, who will remind you to keep going on the difficult days. This person is your human anchor. It's your earthly support. Because doing a novena alone is possible, but doing it with someone by your side is stronger. And here's something that almost no one knows. Padre Pio had a group of people he called novena guardians. These were people who, when someone started a novena, committed to pray along with them during the 9 days, not for the same intention, but for the power of the novena itself, for the protection of the process, to ensure that the person didn't give up in the middle. And Padre Pio said that novenas that had guardians had a much higher response rate than novenas done completely alone. So if you are starting this novena today, October 16th, choose a guardian, someone you trust, someone who takes prayer seriously, and ask them, pray with me for 9 days. You don't need to know my intention. You just need to pray that I have the strength to complete it. And when you have a guardian, you have a commitment not only to God, but to another person. And that human commitment helps you on the days when your own motivation fails. But what if you don't have anyone? What if you are really alone in this? Padre Pio said, then I am your guardian. And he truly was. He promised that every novena done in his name, every novena asked with his intercession, he would personally accompany. And if you believe that, if you truly trust that Padre Pio is on the other side interceding for you, then you are never alone. So on the first day, when you do your 3 initial actions, give thanks for waking up, declare your intention, ask for protection, you add a 4th. Padre Pio, be my guardian in this novena. And now, let's talk about something that no one wants to hear, but that is absolutely essential. What to do if you fail, if you forget a day, if you skip a morning, if you break the cycle. Padre Pio was clear. You restart. There are no shortcuts. There are no discounts. There's no, oh, but I prayed in the afternoon, so it counts. It doesn't count. A novena is 9 consecutive days at the same time. If you broke it, you start over from 0. And that is not cruelty. That is spiritual discipline. But here's what many people don't understand. Restarting is not failure. Restarting is course correction. Padre Pio saw people who restarted their novena 3, 4, 5 times before they managed to do the 9 complete days. And when they finally succeeded, the answer they received was much greater than the answer they would have received if they had gotten it right the first time. Why? Because the process of restarting teaches you persistence. It teaches you humility. It teaches you that you are not in control, and those lessons are worth more than the very grace you are asking for. So, don't be afraid to fail. Be afraid to give up. Failing and restarting is part of the journey. Giving up is the only real mistake. And Padre Pio said, if you restart as many times as necessary, you will always finish the novena. And when you finish, you will look back and see that each restart brought you closer to God. Each failure taught you something. Each attempt strengthened you, But today, October 16th, you have the opportunity to do it right from the beginning. You have all the instructions. You have the complete roadmap. You know what to do on each of the 9 days. You know how to prepare. You know how to ask. You know how to wait. You know how to finish. Now, just execute. And here is Padre Pio's last piece of advice about novenas. He said, "When you receive the grace, and you will receive it, don't keep it to yourself. Tell the story, testify, share it, not to brag, but to give hope, because when you tell how your novena was answered, you inspire someone else to do theirs, and when someone does this and receives, they inspire another, and so faith multiplies, so graces spread, so the kingdom of God grows. So this novena that you're going to begin today, it's not just for you, it's for you, and for everyone who will be inspired by your story when you finish. It's for you, and for the chain of faith that will form from your testimony. It's for you, and for the glory of God that will manifest when people see that prayer works, that a novena works, that Padre Pio works. But none of this happens if you don't start. If you let this dawn of October 16th pass without taking action, if you postpone it until tomorrow, if you say, maybe next time, there won't be a next time. Today is the opportunity. Now is the moment. This dawn is your window, and when you look back, 9 days from now, when you're on October 24th, completing your novena, you will thank yourself for having started today. You will be thankful for not having let it pass. You will be thankful for having taken it seriously. You will be thankful for having trusted what Padre Pio taught. So go, get up now. Stop what you're doing. Turn off whatever is distracting you. Kneel down and begin. Give thanks for waking up. Declare your intention out loud. Ask for protection for the 9 days. Ask that Padre Pio be your guardian. And enter the most powerful cycle of prayer that exists. 7 days until October 23rd. 9 days of novena. A dawn that changes everything. Start now. And if you are still hesitating, if you are still wondering if it's worth it, let me tell you about 3 real cases that Padre Pio documented of novenas that started exactly like this. 7 days before. At first light, with a clear intention. Case 1, Mary, a nurse. 1958. Her son was diagnosed with a serious illness. Doctors gave him 3 months. Mary began the novena 7 days before the next doctor's appointment. She woke up at dawn every day, prayed with tears in the first days, with doubt on the 5th day, with hope in the last days. On the day of the appointment, a new examination. The disease had regressed. Doctors had no explanation. Padre Pio said medicine did its part, the novena did God's part. 3 years later, the son was completely cured. Mary continued doing novenas for the rest of her life, not out of necessity, but out of gratitude. Case 2, Joseph, a businessman, 1962. His business was failing. Debts were piling up. His family was at risk. A court decision was scheduled for November 23rd. Joseph began the novena on November 16th, at first light. He had never prayed a novena before. He didn't even know where to start. Padre Pio instructed him personally. Days 1 and 2, he sold everything of value he had and used the money to pay what he could. Day 3, he made a settlement offer to the creditors. Day 4, he gave thanks as if the agreement had already been accepted. Day 5, he wanted to give up because no one had responded. Day 6, he received a letter from one creditor accepting. Day 7, the second creditor accepted. Day 8, the hearing was postponed. Day 9, the complete agreement was closed. Joseph didn't lose the business, he restructured. 5 years later, he was prosperous again. And every November 16th, he woke up at dawn and thanked God for the novena that changed everything. Case 3. Anna, a widow, 1965. Her daughter was going down a dangerous path. Wrong friends, destructive choices. Anna didn't know what to do anymore. She had tried everything. Conversations didn't work. Scoldings didn't work. Nothing reached her daughter's heart. So Anna started a novena. 7 days before her daughter's birthday. She didn't ask for her daughter to change. She asked for wisdom to know how to help. And during the 9 days, Anna changed. She stopped fighting, stopped judging, started listening, started understanding. And on her daughter's birthday, they had the first real conversation in years. The daughter cried, opened her heart, told her what was happening, and from that day on, she started to come back. It wasn't fast, it wasn't easy, but it was real. And Padre Pio said to Anna, "You asked for wisdom. God gave you love." Because sometimes love is the only wisdom that works. 3 cases. 3 different situations, 3 different results, but one equal pattern. They started on the right day, completed all 9 days, trusted the process, and received, not always what they asked for, but always what they needed, and that is the secret that Padre Pio tried to teach. A novena is not about controlling God. It's about trusting in God. It's about aligning your will with His will. It's about letting go of control and receiving what is best. So if you have an intention for October 23rd, now you know what to do. You have the method. You have the examples. You have the guarantee that it works. It doesn't work by magic. It works by faith. It works by obedience. It works by consistency. And it works because Padre Pio, on the other side, is interceding for everyone who follows what he taught. Today is October 16th, at first light, and you are not here by chance. You are not hearing this by coincidence. You are here because there is something that you need to ask for, something that you need to change, something that you need to receive. And this is the moment. This is the day, this is the dawn that will begin the cycle that will change everything. Don't let it pass. Start now.